1, 2, just checking audio. How's that? 1, 2, 1, 2. Just on in 3 minutes. Yeah, I am checking the audio. 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me now? One, two. Carol says you can hear me. Scott says you can hear me. Okay, good. Thanks, V. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, Ricardo in Mexico, Claudia, Edson in Brazil, Fortaleza, and Sarah. I can see you all checking in. Cheryl from New Zealand. It's nice to see you all. I'm going to get going in a minute. From South Park Avenue, I missed that. Oh, Guglielmo from South Park Avenue, which I can see from here. Atlanta, Georgia. San Francisco, Daniela. Zach from Singapore. Hi from Philly, California, New Zealand, Birmingham, New Haven, Belgium. Sergio. Where are you, Sergio? Natasha. Pascal in Belgium. Andre in Brazil. Steve in Melbourne. That's not how you spell Melbourne, Steve. Brennan in the city that always doesn't sleep, New York. San Marino, Bilbao. Stockholm, Melissa. Randall in Tennessee. Must be hot in Tennessee now. Ed in Brisbane. What's the weather doing in Brisbane, Ed? And Karen in Dungarvan. Gulam from somewhere. Kelly from North Carolina. Alex from Newfoundland. I wonder if you still have snow up there. Georgie from Chile. Who's in Taiwan? That's not sunny in Taiwan, is it? Because the cover stars this week is Sunny from Taiwan, and I think it's Hande from Turkey. So Luke was at the Futurist Theatre in Scarborough. Oh, that was a great gig. I loved that. Dogan's in Istanbul, Natasha's in London. Jules is in Birmingham. Nicholas is in Montreal. Wow, Vishal's from Hyderabad. We don't get many people. Tomomi is from Japan. And Joe's from Catford. David says hi to his daughter Izzy, who stayed up late. Wow, I hope this is, Izzy, I hope you're going to find this interesting. Usually when my kids stay up late, it's got to be for something good. But, you know, hopefully this will be okay. Yeah. So I definitely don't promise you a tune every week. And I'm kind of not doing, you know, because I'm not really singing just now. But, and I know I had to learn this. On the guitar this morning. Lay on the bed there, kissing just for practice. Could we please be objective? The other boys are queuing up behind us. Hand over my mouth. I hand over the window. Well, if I remain passive, you just wanna cuddle. It should be okay, and we won't get in a muddle. We're seeing other people, at least that's what we say we are doing. doing. How are you feeling? That's a good question. How are you feeling? That's why we're here, folks. We're here to talk about feelings. And some people say that feelings aren't important. I remember reading, was it Prince Philip, who said, "What's all this talk about feelings? You know, feelings aren't important. Duty is the thing that's important." And if Prince Philip was here, you know, I respect him as for being old, but duty isn't the thing. How do you know what your duty is without first knowing what your feelings are? Feelings are very important. They run the show. Of course, actions are important and words are important, but how do you know what your words and your actions are going to be before you think about it? And feelings have got a lot to do with that. And we should always be trying to nurture good feelings. Always trust to a happy mind was, I believe, something that Buddha said. Or was it Shantideva? Somebody, hopefully, from the Buddhist Center can correct me on that one. Trust to a happy mind, always. I know we don't always have a happy mind, but, you know, let's try and trust to it. Well, I'm going to set this recording. Forgot to do that earlier. Trust to a happy mind. So this week, I've rather self-referentially taken the title of the meditation and our talk to be seeing other people. I would suggest that my meaning this morning is completely different to the meaning of the song that I wrote, 25 years ago, or whenever it was. Back then, we were just, a bunch of kids jumping in and out of each other's beds, and being jealous and being self-centered, completely self-cherishing people. Well, I was anyway. Actually, the people, I would say the main subject of that song, or the song, the person that the song was written to wasn't such a self-cherishing person. She was a much more sort of giving person than I was. Anyway, that's more information you need. Just forget about that. It's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about other people. We're talking about seeing them, really seeing them, thinking about other people, which of course we do, but maybe we don't do it enough. And we do it often from a position of this thing called self-cherishing that I started, talking about last week, which is a big subject. And the trouble with self-cherishing is you always put yourself first, even though you maybe don't think you're putting yourself first. You put yourself first. We all put ourselves first, pretty much all day, every day. And yeah, I'm talking about me here, and that's all well and good. You want to be civilized, you want to survive, you want to, you don't want to look a complete mess when you come on a Zoom chat. But it's not really the answer to our problems. And funnily enough, the answer to our problems is putting other people first, or at least putting other people on the same level as we are. And, that notion isn't just unique to Buddhism. Of course, that's love others as you would yourself is the center of Christianity, and I'm sure that there's an equivalent in most religions, and you don't even have to have a religion to know that on a good day you should treat everybody kind of like you treat yourself if you can. And we think and say that everybody's equal, but do we really mean it? Do we really manage that? We maybe do it. Sometimes we manage to do it as individuals, but then, think about this current crisis. Think about the way that governments are acting. Think about the way that countries are acting. A lot of the time, they're accusatory. A lot of the time, they're trying to get one over, and they're trying to be first all the time. If countries were people, how would they be acting right now? Would they be treating everybody equally? Would they be treating everyone as you would want to be treated yourself? I don't think so. And where is it getting us? I think most of us sitting back, looking at the way that some countries are behaving, some governments are behaving, we shake our heads. We're just like, these people don't represent us. This is rubbish. This is pure mince, as you might say in Scotland. But the best that we can do is maybe try to be a little bit better behaved ourselves. Try to treat others a bit better. Try to see them better. Because you feel good as well. You know that movie Amelie, when she decides to do good deeds all over the place? She decides to cherish other people rather than just moping around and cherishing herself. Well, things start to work out for her. She suddenly feels really good. I mean, it doesn't last forever. It's life isn't a movie. You can't just go around doing doing terrific deeds for everybody all the time. Well, I wish maybe you could, but she felt good for a while. She was looking good there, and she got a boyfriend in the end, and things started to work out for her because she started looking outwards. It's funny that, isn't it? What you can get when you start looking outwards, when you stop perhaps being so morbid. And again, I'm not trying to be preachy here, because this is me. I've been I'm a sensitive singer-songwriter. I've been looking inwards for years and years, but I do know that on these rare occasions that when I do something for somebody else, I feel good about it. Just trying to think of a specific instance. Well, I'll maybe think about it later. We should maybe get into a meditation. I'm kind of ignoring you. I mean, I hope you're okay out there. I'm assuming that you're doing okay. And thank you again for coming in and joining me, because this is my favorite part of the week, because I do feel that I do feel like there's a few people out there. It feels kind of cozy. So we're going to try meditation, because meditation is a way, I would suggest, a way of cherishing others, because it can bring out the best in us. It can restore us, and then we're ready to put our best face towards the world and towards other people. So I thought I'd try this week. I hope you can just kind of go with me. I'm going to try this sort of a little bit of a healing meditation, healing for all of us. I think we all kind of need it. No matter how you're feeling physically, we can all do with a bit of, mental spring cleaning, so to speak. And we do this meditation where in our class where we think about streams of light, just like just like the streams of light in the forest behind me. And we imagine these streams of light coming down and in the top of our heads and just providing good things. And you might think, well, that sounds a little bit, I don't know if I'm into that. It sounds a little bit supernatural. That sounds like it's bordering on something, but do you know what? No matter, this isn't a matter of faith. This is just a matter of being open to something. Even if you don't believe there's anything supernatural happening around us, even if you believe that this is all there is, this moment and this life and this body and this time, opening your mind to a positive idea will change your mind. It will absolutely change your mind. So this is a no-lose situation. Of course, if you do believe in other stuff and other powers, and maybe you believe in pure beings or holy beings or, something before or something after, then, this is a good time to go to those, go to whoever you want to go to. So let's, if you can, get into a comfortable seated position with a straight back. We're going to start with the breathing as usual. So you can close your eyes at this point if you would like. I hope you've carved out this time for yourself. So I really hope we can have a nice meditation together. And we can put our everyday life aside for a minute. There is nothing so important we need to think about just now. We can just start to let our thoughts go. Let the buzz of our mind calm down. So let's go inwards. Start focusing on our breath. Because we're all breathing. Let's just do it naturally. Just observe your breath. Just at the tip of the nostril. Let's just do this for a minute or so. And if your mind starts to wander, just bring it back in to your breath. Just keep bringing your thoughts back to your breath, and everything else will just naturally glide away. Focus on your breath. Doesn't matter if you're not very good and you find it tricky. Your intention is good, and that's the main thing. Now that we're in this good place, let's imagine streams of light coming down on top of our heads, healing streams to help us to make us calmer, ultimately to make us happier. Because none of us is perfect. Let's really open our hearts and let these healing streams of light come in. Now that we're full of light, enjoy this moment. Let's turn our minds to other people and just for a minute or so let the light flow to whoever you want to think about. Maybe somebody who's not feeling well, somebody who's anxious, somebody you're worried about. See if you can pass some light onto them. Let's just broaden our attention just out to the rest of the world, and let's dedicate our meditation today. Let's dedicate our efforts to the happiness of the people round about us and to the rest of the world. And in your own time, it's up to you. You can either stay in a relaxed state with your eyes shut, or you can come out of meditation. I'm just going to talk for a few more minutes. That's just almost 2:00 British summertime, in case you've got some other Zoom meeting or thing you have to run off and do. But I'm just going to stay here for a few more minutes, sweating. It's warm in Glasgow. Thank you for that meditation. I think that was, I don't know, I think you guys are getting better, because I could feel a sort of group effort there. I was up pretty early this morning. It's my oldest son's birthday, and he was up. He wanted us to get up pretty early. So I was a little bit worried I was going to fall asleep during the meditation. And there's nobody here to give me a nudge. But we made it. It was good. It is a little bit like dreaming, isn't it? When you get into a good place when you're meditating. Some people think that like our whole life is a dream, and we're going to wake up one day and we're going to see how things really are. But it's possible. Of course, it's possible. I'm open to all possibilities. I like thinking about dreams. I think, when you were young, you were taught just to dismiss dreams as nonsense, or the scientific view. Oh yeah, it's just your mind trying to unravel itself or work things out. But if you think about it, when you're dreaming, your existence is really 100% contained within that dream. When you are sleeping and dreaming, you have no notion of what's going on in this so-called real world. It's a different world. It's a world contained within the mind. And then we wake up, and what's to say that this so-called reality is another form of dream? I think you can analyze that sort of thing better than what I've just done. I made it sound a little bit like the sort of thing you say when you've had a couple of drinks. But Do you know, last night I was, when I went upstairs and I was kind of, tidying the bed, but the light was off and it was completely dark in the room. And I was feeling around for things. I was thinking, is the blanket there? Is the duvet there? And I was thinking about the blanket and the colors of the blanket and thinking, right now, do they exist? What is color? What is color without any light? There is no color. And then I switched on the light, and as soon as the light was on, the color started existing for me again. And it got me to think about, there's a little bit of a parallel there with what we're doing when we're meditating or just actually thinking about life. It's like the object around, the world around us, is the world around us really here? It's only here when our mind is around to perceive it. When we're asleep or when we die, there's no more world. We can't perceive it. We don't know it. Anyway, that was my half-assed little thought. So last week I introduced this notion of self-cherishing, which I told you when I first heard about it, I was a little bit worried about it because, it's not the thing that comes out of a Whitney Houston song. It's not about loving yourself, putting your, or, the greatest thing is to love yourself. It's kind of the opposite of that. We should be doing the opposite. We should be cherishing others. And in fact, self-cherishing, if that's all you do, is a total drag. It becomes a real drag. I mean, it's all we've been doing our whole lives. And where has it got us? If you've been self-cherishing your whole life, you're probably in a cul-de-sac. You're probably in a dead end. I would say that the nice things that have happened to me have come from, going after others or trying to look after others, or my interaction with others anyway. But I'm as guilty as anybody of spending our days self-cherishing. Let me read a little bit from the new 8 Steps to Happiness. This is by Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, who was the man that wrote How to Solve Our Human Problems and things like that. So self-cherishing is our mind thinking, I am important, while neglecting others. Self-cherishing is defined as a mind that considers oneself to be supremely important and precious. It is our self-cherishing that makes us feel that our happiness and freedom are more important than anyone else's, that our wishes and feelings matter more, and that our life and experiences are more interesting. Because of our self-cherishing, we find it upsetting when we are criticized or insulted, but not so much when a stranger is criticized. We may even feel happy when someone we dislike is insulted. And he finishes here, there are no valid reasons whatsoever for thinking that we are more important than other people. So yeah, there's a lot going on there, but if you want to explore more, then you can get this book, The New 8 Steps to Happiness, which I would recommend. It's a good read. It's very interesting. So the opposite of self-cherishing is obviously cherishing others, not just people, animals, whatever you want, all living things. And it's it's a good thing. Like, even say for instance, I remember there was a monk who came to talk to us in Glasgow, and I don't want to steal his story, but he was talking about a problem that he had with somebody at work. This was before he was a monk. Just this person was really, his boss was really unpleasant, and he couldn't stand it. He just thought this person's really, he's got a problem, and I don't know how long I'm going to last here. But he asked his teacher at the time, what should I do about this person? And his teacher said, well, why don't you try to love this person? Why don't you try to get to know this person better, and be kind to them? And so over time, the fellow who was going to be a monk, he tried to get to know the person a bit better. He changed his attitude towards him. He was much more patient, and he just tried to see past his sort of aggressiveness and rudeness, but things changed. The person, his boss, just loosened up and became a really different person towards him. And in fact, really, he told him about the problems he was having with his health and with his personal life and things like that. And their relationship totally changed. And I think we all know, we've probably all experienced that kind of thing. When we take a little bit of time to understand somebody a bit better, we realize that sometimes their anger or their unpleasantness is coming from somewhere else, and we can help to break that down if we just see them a different way for a second, for a while. I thought of a little example that happened to me. It's almost like opposite, where this was many years ago, when I used to be a little roadie guy. I used to be the guy that one of the guys that takes in all the equipment for bands and moves the speakers around and spends all day building the PA stacks and setting up the gig. And it was great fun. It was good fun. And but I was really young at the time. I was very keen, and I couldn't believe it, because this one time, a band that I loved so much was coming to the place that I worked in, and that was the great thing about it. This was the first time that the Pixies came to Glasgow, and I was going to be working at the show. I was going to be, there with them all day, building up the sound equipment and the light equipment. Anyway, we had loaded in all the gear and done all the stuff, and then the band showed up, or I think maybe their management showed up first, and they were kind of dishing out orders, or telling our crew boss like how they wanted it and stuff like that. And but for some reason, I was just the kind of young guy, but for some reason the Pixies manager sort of, he noticed me, and he asked me he introduced himself, and he asked me if I could sort of help out with some stuff, and could I do, and this was like the big boss with the kind of lowest guy in the whole place. And I felt amazing. I felt really special that he had sort of noticed me. And so I was so keen to, to help out for the rest of the day. And it didn't take much. Usually his name was Chaz, actually. I think he went on to manage Teenage Fan Club later. But it just makes a big difference when you notice other people, so-called minions. I was just one of the sort of minions at the time. Anyway, that was just a thing I just thought about. And there you go. It's like 30 years later, and it obviously it was like a small thing, but it's made such an impression that I'm telling you about it now. So I realize we're running over. I'm not going to go on for too long. In fact, I almost think that we could that I might run on next week and take this subject on and talk about it some more, because others is a big topic. And think about it. Think how much more important other people are than you. There's one of you. There's 7 billion other people. So they outnumber you. They outrank you. I mean, you're important, obviously, but the others are really important too. So it should be a big topic for us. Yeah, I'm gonna get going just now. I don't want to rattle on too much, but as usual, you can send me comments to Facebook, or you can email me at my email address, stuartmurdoch@gmail.com. Hi to Sean and Claire and Sunny and Julie and people that emailed me last week. And yeah, let's do it again next week. Stay safe, stay well, and if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, enjoy the almost summer that's here. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, wrap up. And if you're somewhere in the middle, then totally jealous, the tropics, that's the place to be. All right, guys. See you next week.